Welcome everybody to the Winterdance Maple Sugar Shack. So in today's video we'll be giving you guys an exclusive tour of the Sugar Shack itself and show you guys the process of making maple syrup and how it's all done. So all the behind the scenes magic here, so we'll head inside. Alright, so the first step of making maple syrup is tapping the tree. So most trees generally have one tap in them, so the white little spigot there sticking in there, so that's drilled in at the start of the spring, and then it's taken out at the end of the spring. So the tree doesn't grow around it and it doesn't damage it. So we put those in every spring and take them out just to make sure the tree isn't damaged, as well as our spigots there. So depending on the size of the tree, they can have upwards of 2-3 taps. So if it's a bigger tree, generally it'll have 2 taps, just depending how much sap we can get out without harming the tree, that kind of thing. So once the sap flows out of the tree, comes down that little green line there, into that small blue one, where it eventually flows into this big blue line here, and then it all flows down into that big main line down there, and then that flows into that big silver holding tank at the back. So these pipelines run through the entire forest here, so we have about 5 miles of pipelines total, so we tap around 2,000 trees, so generally that will give us around 1,400 liters of syrup every year. Last year I believe we got around 1,300 liters. This year I think we're kind of estimating around the same. We're close to the end of boiling season. But yeah, so all of our lines are gravity fed, so they start at the top of the ridge there. So our highest elevation is about 300 feet to the top of the ridge, all the way to the Sugar Shack here. So it's about a 300 feet elevation difference there. So up this primary ridge, and then we also have a smaller secondary ridge. So once the sap has made its way down the ridges, it works its way into this black pipe here, which then will flow into this big evaporator. But before it gets in there, it goes through this float box here. So it has a float in it, so if it ever gets too full, it can actually shut the valves off towards the tank, so it'll just rise up, close everything off, basically so your evaporator can never overflow. And once you work your way back, you have your volume gauge, so you always know how much syrup is actually in these two main boilers here. So at the back of the evaporator you have 2 main primary pans. So inside here you can see the steam rolling. So that gets all the syrup nice and hot. And then once it's done boiling in there, it moves down to this float box, just like on the other side, into these 2 secondary pans here, where it actually all gets boiled down to be maple syrup. So this is another float gauge here, so that shows you how much is left in your tank, and that's where it flows out. So this is your firebox, so this is where all the heat comes from. You have to refill it around every 20 minutes or so, just to make sure you keep at that 900 to 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit temperature, so that's shown down here on that thermometer. So this shows you the heat of your box, and then this shows you the heat of your syrup. And this brand new machine back here, so this is our reverse osmosis. So we're going to be installing this next year to hopefully cut down on the wood needed to boil it all down. But yes, yeah, so